The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome the hell back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your pistachio-eating son of a bee host, Mike Azzalina, joined by a guy who, goodness gracious, what a night we've had texting. Regzy Boo, what a win.
What a win, man. Unbelievable. We just went down and shut out the Braves at home for the first time. What did they say? All season, at least?
No. From at home since 2021.
That's absurd.
They've not been shut out at home since 2021. 2 shutouts this year, 125 straight games without being shut out.
And our starting pitcher went 4 innings.
3 2/3.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. We're going to get into all of that.
Oh, my goodness.
Just an unbelievable win for this team. I said to you on the show the other night, winning the Strider game would be, bar none, the most unbelievable accomplishment that this team has ever had. And then they come out and win the Strider game.
Literally, we were texting tonight after the first inning, and I was like, did they let this get away? Like, did they have a shot? And then that was it. And you're like, well, look, winning this game is just a gravy, right?
Yeah.
With Wheeler going in the next one. And they freaking did it, man. They beat Strider at home. Like,
and not like, it wasn't like one of those games where you feel lucky to get to Strider. Like, they got to him.
Yeah.
You know, in different ways. He's still going to do his thing. He's still going to be Spencer Strider against the Phillies, because everybody else he's not good against, apparently. It's just like the Phillies he's this good against, because other teams can hit 99 mile an hour up in the zone. The Phillies just don't hit it 99 up in the zone. But overall, man, like the Stott had really good at bats tonight. Tremendous at bat. These were Bryce and Stott at bats from like May, June, July. Like,
I really hope that grand slam kind of flipped the switch,
snapped him out of it. I mean, what was it? It was like 2 for 2 with 2 walks. I think. You know, I obviously Bryce Harper tonight again. 2 for 2 with 2 walks. You know, and the big homer. So we're gonna run through the whole game. I don't know if there's much else to really say. I think we'll get into the bullpen stuff a little bit, but you want to just dive right in, man? Let's do it. All right. So we're gonna do what we did in game 1 against Miami and just sort of go inning by inning and talk through it. You sort of got their approach to Strider right out the gate tonight. They were going to try and get to him early. And I said to you, really, like, you pick your poison against Spencer Strider. You're either going to wait him out and he's going to bury you in counts, and you're going to have to decide between the slider and the fastball, or you're going to try and jump on him early in counts. And what you sacrifice there is a low pitch count. But I think your best attack against him is trying to get him early in counts. Because once you have 2 strikes on you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're guessing, it's impossible.
Yeah, once you have 2 strikes on you, especially if you're down 1-2, 0-2, even 2-2.
Yeah,
you're in trouble, because that slider's in his back pocket. I said to you at one point, like, don't even worry about the changeup. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not relevant. But the other 2 pitches are so good.
Yeah.
That all he has to do is show you the changeup once in a while. So Schwarb's lit off with a double. I thought it was gone off the bat.
Oh,
honestly.
my gosh. I thought when Acuna started looking at it that it was gone.
Yeah. And then when it bounced up, I was like, oh, that's definitely gone. But it hit the padding.
Yeah.
So leadoff double, and then he had a really bad base running error. But it really evened out, because Trey ended up on second with 1 out, which it would have been. It actually was better for the Phillies that Trey was on second.
Yeah.
Bryce with the single, Arcia makes the play to keep it in the infield. And then Bomer, who had a really, 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 really bad night, grounded into a double play to end the inning. And that is when you texted me
Yeah.
to say, was that our shot? And I said, no, I mean, they had some good swings.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be out of the gate. And Bomer is not set up to hit Spencer Strider.
Yeah, not a lot of their righties aren't. It's just like
no.
Trey has
No.
a okay chance. Rojas has no shot. Castellanos with that
No.
slider has no shot. JT, like again, not really.
No, JT basically said before the series started that he has faced him a million times and still can't pick up the fastball.
And Bohm he can't catch up to that velocity right now. He's just
well. I have to say, and one thing that's important to point out, not many dudes have a rise on their fastballs in Major League Baseball, and Spencer Strider does. The ball actually moves upward.
Yeah.
And that's a really difficult thing to battle. He's throwing 98, 99, and it's moving up. And then he's got that slider that is just devastating. I said to you a couple of times throughout the game that pitch is a strike for 97% of the way to home plate.
Yeah.
And then it moves. So then Ranger comes out in the first and goes 1, 2, 3.
Oh, Ranger.
And no good contact either. Just 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Just 1,
Jams
2, 3.
Acuna on the first one.
Mm-hmm. Gets Riley on strikes and then gets a weak fly ball to Rojas to end the inning. The Phillies again in the bottom half. JT gets hit by a pitch. I did say to you, what do you think it feels like to get hit by 98 on the hand and not feel anything?
We were very in sync tonight for being not next to each other because we went over to a friend's house, and he's a Pittsburgh fan, so he was obliged me by putting the game on outside. So we were sitting around the fire pit most of the night watching the game, and he got to witness my manic watching of a Phillies playoff game, which I usually don't share with too many people, just because I go into my own little world. But as soon as we said as that happened, I literally turned and said to him, he didn't even flinch. Like, imagine being that cool to just get hit in the knuckles with 98 and just be like, ow, that, and then you texted me almost a second later. So it was pretty funny. There was a couple of moments like that tonight that we were very in sync despite not sitting right next to each other.
Good for us.
But yeah, I don't know how you don't flinch or be like, son of a,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he did sort of do the
He did, but not enough. It doesn't seem like enough.
Yeah. For those of you watching the show, just know I did not eat dinner tonight out of pure nerves. So in between when Regz is talking, you're going to see me chewing on some pistachio.
I'm about to DoorDash you some McDonald's or something.
Yeah, I know. I certainly can't drive to get it. That's
No.
for sure. So then Nick came up and I will tip my cap to Sean Murphy on this play because that throw was right on the money.
Yeah.
If that throw is anywhere else, JT safe.
Literally anywhere else. If it bounces, it's
Yeah. I mean, he caught it right on JT's
literally
shoulder.
Yeah.
And then Nick flew out. So
again,
that was the end of that.
Nick, not a great one.
No, the leadoff walk in the second got me a little nervous. I was like, there's usually lead to runs.
Yep.
He got Ozuna to pop out weakly, and then the strike him out, throw him out to from Harris. They originally called Albie safe, but Trey knew right away.
Oh yeah, he immediately.
He walked off the field.
Yeah.
Walked off the field and said, no, listen to that. And that one wasn't nearly as close as the JT play.
I mean, yeah, it was when you slow it down, a lot of things look not as close. In real life, I get it, how someone could call that safe.
Right.
But he was out, when he was out.
For sure. Phillies come up in the top of the third. Marsh strikes out. Rojas swung at the first pitch, and then Kyle grounded out. So a really easy third inning.
Oh, I thought Kyle was going to mash. After hitting that double, I just thought he was going to mash.
Well, after that, the fastball wasn't anywhere near the plate. It was all sliders.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't giving him a fastball for a strike after that. Then the bottom of the third, Ranger walked through the bottom of their order. Strikeout, weak ground out to Trey, and then strikeout Pilar. In the fourth, the Phillies finally break through. Trey ground out, Bryce walks. Bomer strikes out. Then Bryce, Strider throws a ball out of play. I got a lot of messages about this. You were not one of them. I actually thought you were going to message me about this. I got a lot of messages. Why isn't Bryce on third?
Yeah.
Because when a ball is in the infield thrown out of play, it's 2 bases. Here's why. Strider did not step off the back of the rubber.
Right.
If Strider steps off the back of the rubber, he declares himself an infielder on play. Since he did not step off the back of the rubber and turned on the rubber in front of the rubber and threw it out of play, he's still a pitcher. It's not considered thrown out of play from the infield. So while I got the uproar, because immediately I understand that, like it's the reaction. The rule is the rule, and they made the right call.
Yeah.
It didn't matter though.
Hence why I did not text you, because I was like, yeah, they're right.
Yeah, you were not one of the people that texted me, because when I said this out loud, I was like, Regz wasn't one of the people that texted me. I had like 4 text messages, but none of them from you.
I know some things.
So good for you. I know you do. So Bryson comes up then, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and does what Bryson does. It just shortens up and lines a ball to left field, and you knew Bryce was going.
Nothing makes me happier than Bryce and Stott slapping a 2-strike pitch into left field.
Beautiful swing.
Nothing makes me happier than when he's doing that, because it means he's staying on the ball and he's not trying to do too much. He's just in that Bryson Stott mindset of just put it in play somewhere, man. And he did. I thought the play at the plate was like going to be a play at the plate. I didn't realize Murphy had come so far forward during the throw. So when the throw happened, I was like, wow, that's a pretty good throw. Like when you just see it going towards home plate. And I was like, wait, what happened? Why is he so like, there's not even a tag? But luckily Murphy had to step up a little bit for it.
Yeah, Pilar's the better defensive outfielder
Yes.
of the 2 between he and Rosario. So I was fearful of the same thing. But on that play, you have no option but to send Bryce there.
He got he got a great jump at it too.
Yeah, with 2 outs and you're facing Spencer Strider,
you got to try. Yeah, you have to.
Every time. And then JT struck out to end the inning, but you went to the bottom of the 4th, and Ranger was still cruising. He got the first 2 outs of the inning on, a line out to Brandon Marsh and then a ground out to Trey. So, we were feeling pretty good. I actually thought that we were going to get 5 at the very least.
I mean, at that point, he had no hit him, right? They hadn't gotten a hit yet.
Yeah. And then Olsen came up and hit a ball through the shift. Without the shift, that's a 5-3 ground out to end the inning. And then another weak ground ball from Albies. That, watching the replay, I couldn't tell if Trey bobbled it, if it just took a weird hop into his glove, and he couldn't quite exchange it.
Yeah.
It was a weird play. So, clearly he was called out, and then they challenged it. He was definitely safe. I don't know how he was called out in the force. I don't understand that.
The only thing I thought is that if his front foot missed the bag.
Here was my thought, and they never showed it the whole way through. Did he lift his hand off the bag?
Yeah. I saw his hand on it when the rest of his body kind of came off.
Yeah, but Bryson looked and said, "Did you see? Did you see this?"
Yeah.
And they never showed it the whole way through.
You're right, they didn't. Yeah.
So, at this point, here's the first part of the game where we can have a real conversation about Topper, because he came out and got Ranger here. Ranger did not look pleased.
No.
At all.
I heard a very interesting quote from him in the post-game presser about this, which I don't know.
From Ranger or from Topper?
From Topper.
Yeah, I got the same one, but if you have it up, please read it when I turn it to you here. Let me get to the end of the inning.
Yeah.
So he brings in Jeff Hoffman, who has been phenomenal for the Phillies in these spots. But he has not pitched in a big moment. Well, I mean, at home.
Yes.
He came in to get the
away and
not against Miami.
It's the Braves.
Yeah, you're coming in to face Marcell Ozuna, who's hit 40 home runs this year, 30 home runs this year. Walks Ozuna, who is a tough walk, by the way. That guy swings at everything.
He does.
The pitches he threw weren't close.
Yeah.
And then I was certain Michael Harris was going to hit
Of course. Yeah, of course he was.
Certain.
Mm-hmm.
Here was the part that blew me away. Jeff Hoffman throwing splits.
Yeah.
Like, we knew he had it. We've heard that he has it. He has not thrown it this year.
Not a lot.
But brother comes in and throws two disgusting splits on 2-1 and 2-2 to end the inning.
Yeah.
Like, disgusting. So that 2-2 split to Michael Harris was that ball started at his hip.
Yeah.
Remember, there were times where like Hector Neris would throw splits and they would just stay in the middle of the plate and end up like 5 rows deep.
Yes, of course I do.
Certain that was going to happen. Didn't. Jeff Hoffman gets out of the inning.
Let's also say
Let
that
me turn to you.
He
Go ahead.
struck out Ozuna.
He did. Yeah.
So he really didn't walk him.
Yeah, the 1-2 slider, I think it was.
Yeah.
Or the 1-2-1 slider.
Right.
It was. Mm-hmm.
And then he threw another strike the next pitch. And
So
that was the inning.
Well, that was the one he swung at to make it 3-2. And then he walked on the slider he left up.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, where do you stand on pulling Ranger there?
Let's start with I understand. Even though Ranger is pitching well there, Ozuna just swings so hard all the time that if Ranger makes the smallest mistake, it's getting put 3 rows deep. I think the only argument against it is that Rangers off-speed stuff was working so well, specifically the curveball, and Ozuna has such a hard time with that pitch that maybe you give him a chance. Do I think it sucks that a guy has to come out like after literally bulldozing this team? Yes, it does. Is it something that he would do with Nola or Wheeler in the same situation? No. But Ranger is not one of those guys. I am hopeful that Ranger understood. He was obviously visibly upset in the dugout afterwards. And the quote from Thompson post-game was that he made a choice before the game to not tell Ranger that was the plan. And he said his justification was, I didn't think it was a good idea to tell him, hey, you're only going 3 or 4, so just go full bore because this is the plan. He decided that it was better for Ranger for him to tell him, just go pitch. Just go pitch, man. Go pitch your game. And look, Ranger delivered. He absolutely delivered a gem. I feel bad for him just in terms of how I know he probably feels. But look, hindsight is 20/20, and they got out of it. So you can't really fault the manager for the decision if it worked. That's where I stand. I can see both sides of it. I completely understand both sort of arguments. We'll never know what would have happened, but it worked out for us and they won the game. So what were your thoughts about it?
I was good with it.
Yeah.
Only because Topper was really clear that it was going to happen. Like, he wasn't going to mess around. They had 2 days off, and they have a day off tomorrow.
Yeah.
Any sign of trouble, he was going to get.
It was
this team.
Yeah.
Managers legitimately avoided left-handed pitching against the Braves because of how well they hit left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
Like, people thought they were crazy for starting Ranger tonight.
Yeah.
Because of how well this team hits left-handed pitching. You get into that spot and you have to think to yourself, all right, what is it that we have to consider here? Well, what does Marcelo Ozuna do against left-handed pitching? Let me tell you. Here's his line against left-handed pitching this year. He hits 278, 345 OPP, 635 slugging for a 980 OPS.
Yeah.
He OPS is 980 against left-handed pitching. I'd love to see what he does second time through. I'm going to see if I can find that split. Second time seeing a pitcher. Here's what he does against righties. He's almost 10 points lower batting average, 267. He's almost a full 20 points lower in his OBP, 328. And he's a full 200 points lower slugging, 460, for an OPS of 788, which is almost 200 points lower. Look, Topper's an old school guy. He goes with feel, but he also is smart enough to know when the numbers dictate what they dictate.
Yeah.
Now, Hoff did not come in and do what you wanted him to do.
Right.
He didn't get the out. Yeah, he got Michael Harris out.
Well, he also struck Ozuna out.
Correct.
But you're right.
And he also made Ozuna look really foolish on two pitches.
Yeah.
And going into that at bat, he was 0 for 5 against Hoffman.
Right.
So, I get what people are saying. I understand the concept of, he looks good, he looks good, he looks good. He looks good until he doesn't look good. And all it takes is one Marcell Ozuna swing, and it's 3-1. And that place is loud, and it's Spencer Strider on the mound for at least 6 more innings.
Yeah.
Well, 3 more innings at that point, 4 more innings probably.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, I totally get it. I totally get the frustration up front. But I think it's important to understand that Ozuna against left-handed pitching is very different than Ozuna against right-handed pitching.
Yeah.
It worked out. The Phillies get out of the inning.
What do you think about his plan to not tell Ranger?
I kind of like that too. I think there's a little bit of emotional intelligence in that.
Yeah.
He's got the trust of his players. Ranger wasn't happy about it, but you could see them talking later.
Yep.
And I think, I haven't heard Ranger speak yet tonight, but I think really at the end of the day, all Ranger's going to care about is that they won the game.
I agree. I think it's almost like the AJ Brown thing that we experienced with the Eagles. It's like, yeah, like the guy's going to be mad sometimes when he's open and he's not getting the ball.
Right.
But would you rather it the other way? Like that he's just not competitive and not trying to be the best player he can be all the time?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those situations. Ranger, when he's pitching like that, of course he doesn't want to come out of the game, man.
Right.
Because he had just given up 2 like weak ground ball hits. And, he doesn't take that as like, it's gone. He's like, no, I'm going to go get this guy. We're going to get out of this and I'm going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And good. That's what he should be thinking. So I completely understand him not being happy with coming out of the game. Like Strider wasn't happy when he came out of the game in the 7th.
Yeah, he lost his damn mind.
Yeah. So look, I think I appreciate the fact that Topper went over, talked to him, like recognized that he was upset, went and explained himself. And I think you're right. I think he does have the trust of his players. And I think it does take a little bit of emotional intelligence there. You have to understand what your player is going to react to.
Yes.
Like Ranger being told to just go empty the tank probably doesn't pitch the same way.
Correct.
As Ranger trying to go 7 innings.
Correct.
You have to understand how your player is going to react to something like that.
Yeah. Just another thing about the matchup. Ozuna hits 214 against sliders.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah,
I didn't mind it. I like the emotional intelligence that Topper has with his players. I think he understands them. They respect him. They trust him.
Yep.
And when you have that trust, you can go back later and have the conversation. Right. But like he was out in the media all like these last 2 days saying the same thing, which was we have a very well rested bullpen and we have a day off with our horse going on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to be shy.
Yeah.
And you can't be against this team.
Yeah.
You just cannot be shy. You got a chance to beat Strider.
Right. You have to do it.
You go and beat Strider.
Yeah. He also said that he was happy that Ranger was upset. He's like, that's what I wanted. Yeah. Like, of course he's going to be. He's like, that's okay. That's not a problem.
I agree. Top of the 5th, Nick grounded out on the first pitch. B. Marsh walked. It was a good at bat from him too.
Yeah.
Rojas struck out swinging. I actually thought they were gonna bunt him there.
Yeah. Listen, this is not Johan's pitcher to get at. Just listen. For as much as the guy has hit, when we didn't think he should, there are just some times where it's just not going to happen for you. That's okay.
He's not any righties.
That's
pitcher.
okay.
He's just not. And then Schwarbs, after a stolen base from Marsh, Schwarbs strikes out. He goes to Sir Anthony here for the bottom of the Braves order.
Yeah.
Orlando Arcia singled to lead off. And then Sean Murphy struck out swinging. They brought in Rosario. He had Rosario too.
He just made a
Another
mistake.
fastball. I don't understand the fastball there. I think breaking ball probably wouldn't the right thing.
I think even Frank Hoare brought it up that Arcia doesn't hit the slider well. Again, he mislocated the pitch, first of all. Let's just say that. JT wanted
right
it
down
up.
the middle.
JT wanted it up. It was right down the middle. Rosario is a good fastball hitter. And look, he took advantage of a mistake. That's what that guy is going to do. Sir Anthony made a mistake.
Well, at that point, I was like, here we go.
Yep. I literally just texted you, sir, ...
Because now you got to deal with Acuna and Riley.
Oh, my God.
And what does he do?
Just 1, 2, 3, baby.
He nuts up and just throws fastballs.
Freezes Acuna.
Yeah, that pitch was absolute filth on the inside corner.
Gets Riley swinging right.
Riley goes 3-2, and everybody in the ballpark knows what he's throwing.
Just blows it right by him.
Everybody in the stadium, and there's 99 center cut.
Yeah, just blows it
right by him. Just unbelievable. 99 center cut. And this is when the game sort of turned. This is when it turned because Strider's still in the game. Turner, I kept saying bloop and a blast, bloop and a blast, bloop and a blast. And Andrea was like, what's a bloop and a blast? I said, it's a single and then a home run.
Yeah.
And Trey almost snuck one by Strider.
Yeah.
If that ball sneaks by Strider, he's
just a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Strider tries to throw a curveball that just leaks a little bit over the plate.
Just drops the barrel on it.
Hardest ball hit against Spencer Strider this year, 115 miles an hour.
115.
Yep. Yep. Bryce just continued. I told you that this is Bryce's season.
Yep.
This team doesn't have the lefties that the Marlins have.
Yeah.
They just don't have those weapons. I mean, even when they brought in Minter to face him, he had a good at bat.
Yep.
This group is not the same. You can get Bryce with hard slider.
Yeah.
You're not getting Bryce with right-handed pitching. You're not getting Bryce with a dude who throws 98 most of the time. You're going to get Bryce with guys who are going to flick sliders at him.
Yep.
So Bryce goes ahead and puts him up 2-0. Bomer comes up, strikes out. Stotty singles, and then JT grounds out. But he smoked that ball.
He did. He did hit it
Then
hard.
he grounded out on.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was through. I didn't realize it was hit right at Arcia. But
yeah.
Then they go to Alvarado, and Alvarado does what Alvarado does. Obviously the single from Al really hits left-handed pitching well.
Yeah.
So I think you were sacrificing you were hoping to get out because if you don't, you don't.
He was in there to get Olsen out. Like that's the main goal. Get Matt Olsen out.
And honestly, this was the first piece of luck that the Phillies sort of got. Luck being the key term because Ozuna hit a bullet right at Trey.
Yeah.
And if that ball is by Trey, that ball's in the gap.
Yep.
And it's a 2-1 game, but it's right at Trey.
If it's 3 feet higher, that's a
Yeah. And then Harris grounded out softly to end the inning. So, while it wasn't the best Alvarado inning, it's still a result of Alvarado being Alvarado.
Yeah.
Phillies go down 1-2-3 the next inning. They're going to need something out of that bottom of the order. And look, this isn't a Nick Castellanos game.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
But they're gonna absolutely need him to
He had a really good game 1 against the Marlins.
Yeah, but facing Jesus, I'm drawing a blank on his last name. But facing him is different than facing Spencer Strider.
Is it Luzardo?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. No, absolutely, but absolutely, you're right. That's all I'm saying. I'm hopeful that he'll.
Well,
figure it
how
out.
they did those. How they did that interview with Strider where he was like, "Oh, his favorite." Major League Baseball is the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, they asked, what's his name? He's pitching game 2 for the Braves. He's hurt.
Freed, right?
Yeah. Gosh, I'm having a hard time tonight. They asked Max
Said you haven't
Fried.
eaten anything.
Yeah, nothing. I got it. Yeah. They asked Max Fried, like, who's the toughest out for you? And he said Nick Castellanos. So.
Love it.
Yeah, good. Glad that's in your head.
3 for 4 on Monday. Calling it now.
I think it might be with a bomb.
Yeah.
And then Orion Kirkering comes in the 7th, and I'm like, Regz.
Oh,
I don't know how to feel about
I
this.
don't know either.
I don't know. And he just goes right through Arcia, Murphy, and Rosario.
Yeah.
Arcia weakly lined out to Marsh. Murphy grounded out weakly to Bomer. And then Rosario popped up weakly to Turner. As soon as they got back from the break, they were saying no one's up in the Phillies bullpen. They're going to use Kirkering to face Acuna and maybe Riley.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy.
I don't like that.
Yeah. But the Phillies put up a little bit of a fight here in the 8th. Schwarb struck out, but then Trey singled and stole second and third.
Yep.
Bryce wasn't going to get much to hit there. He didn't. They brought in Pierce Johnson, who throws all sliders. He's basically Kirkering. In a Braves uniform, there's a ton of sliders. Bomer had no prayer tonight. Just swinging at all kinds of bad stuff. Not typical of him.
Yeah.
It was kind of in his own head, and they're gonna have to get him out of that mindset. Bryson had a great at bat, and then the game turning play. What I'll call the game turning play. JT swung at a ball. I think he fouled it off.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately turned to the umpire.
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
And you saw Sean Murphy pull his glove back immediately too. Catcher interference. You don't see it a whole lot in pro baseball.
Yeah.
But it happened. You know, Murphy said he didn't feel it. He heard it. My guess is it hit the string of his glove.
But you know the most telling thing was that Murphy turned around and slammed his helmet into his leg. He didn't argue.
No.
He didn't argue with the ump.
No,
he's just I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, I think it was one of those plays, because then they were like, oh, it didn't show it on replay. Well, it did not show it either.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know you could review that, honestly.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. And usually it's an umpire review.
Yeah.
Which I believe it was
Yeah.
because they had lost their review from what I remember.
No, they still had it, but I think it was still.
Still had it.
It still had to be a crew chief review. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the right call. Murphy said after the game, it was the right call.
Yep.
You've got 2 Gold Glove catchers who reacted basically
the
to show
same
that
way.
It was.
Yeah.
We'll get back to what happened after that. Nick grounded out to end the inning there. I actually thought when he hit it that he was going to.
Yeah. So did I.
But he just anybody.
Arcia
I feel like
made a good play.
Yeah, he's a really good player. Good God, he wasn't even supposed to be their starter this year. It was supposed to be Vaughn Grissom, and he's just been so good. But I want to talk about the fan reaction to that. Obviously, Philadelphia fans flooded the stadium,
of course,
because beer cans were thrown on the field,
dressed in Braves, just dressed in Braves jerseys.
Yeah, it must have been Philly fans because they're the only fans who throw things ever.
Of course.
So. Just wanted to make mention.
Did you see the tweet? Did you see some Braves fan tweeted out some BS story about getting run off the road by a bunch of cars with Phillies stickers?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're a joke.
How idiotic do you have to be?
Yeah.
And then
pretty idiotic.
LA even mentioned, I saw all the tweets that LA was being I hope the national media pays attention to this because we're not in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he said that multiple times. Yeah.
It's
super pumped.
People have to get over this. I still get every time someone meets me and they we talk and I tell them I'm from South Jersey. I'm a Philly sports fan. Oh man, it must be, is it still crazy down there? Is it still, I was like, I don't know.
Can I wear my jersey to a game?
If you go sit in the upper level of the Eagles stadium, of the link, is it going to be fun for you? No, it's not. Like, let's just be honest, it's not going to be fun for you. But you know what? If you go to like Oakland or San Francisco, it's probably worse or just about the same wearing a different jersey. And you know what? If you go to a Phillies game and you wear a different jersey, you're going to get some shit. I've had season tickets to the Phillies for over a decade now. I have never at a Phillies game seen a fist fight. Ever. This is not the vet. Like, this is not the 80s, and early 90s.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm even going to take it a step further. If you show up to a game and you cheer for your team, and that's all you do is cheer for your team, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
If you show up and you're turning around and clapping in people's faces and acting like a moron, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get lit up anywhere.
Yeah. It's also
there are videos that go around every week for NFL football, for every team, that there are fights at every stadium. This happens everywhere. People need to let go. Let go.
If you go to Dodger Stadium wearing a different jersey, you might die.
Yeah.
Like, that's happened.
Just for wearing the jersey.
I've been to games with people who have worn other teams' jerseys. They've sat right next to me. I brought them to the game. Like, yes, if you are going to turn around and talk shit to people, you're going to get shit right back.
Yep.
If you just cheer when your team does something, like, somebody will throw you the occasional, like, hey, F you. And it's like, okay, but like, that's it. Would I expect the same thing if I went to, Citi Field in a Phillies shirt? Like, of course I would.
Yeah, for sure.
Would I be like out there looking for it? Of course I wouldn't. And I don't think anything else would happen. I'd go home just fine. Like,
well, it just made me laugh. It was something that I felt like we had to at least bring up here.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Given how the Braves fans have been reacting to the Phillies coming back to Atlanta to play them again. It's fantastic. It's like, oh, are we in your heads maybe a little bit? Just a little bit.
I mean, it feels like we are.
Because I love it. I love it here. It's warm and cozy.
Well, they brought Kirkering back out in the 8th.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I necessarily felt about it. I was like, you know what? 3-run lead, do it. Let's see.
I mean, the only other righty is Kimbrel at that point, right?
No, you have Lorenzen out there.
Oh, yeah. I don't want him.
So, yeah, Lorenzen out there.
Okay. So, out of my options, I understood why they did it. It was a shame that he walked him.
And you know what? If you look, and I'll have to send it to you. If you look at the pitches he threw him, they were all super close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just Acuna.
Yeah, just kind of,
He's going up there like, I'm gonna take my.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna swing unless he throws me a strike.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. Well, technically, when you look at it, he threw him 2 strikes. They just weren't called strikes. Brian Honora didn't have a great night tonight.
Yeah.
Ryan Honora, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
I kept telling him he wasn't having a good night. Andrea was like, be nice. I was like, no, he's not having a good night. I'm going to tell him that. And so they bring in Strami, and Strami immediately allows a signal to Riley, but got Matt Olson to fly out to center. Play of the game.
Oh my God. Play of maybe the entire.
Wait.
Okay.
You're getting ahead of me.
I am.
And here's what I'm saying. As soon as that ball got hit in the air and I saw Rojas Endel under, I yelled 3 times, throw to second base, throw to second base, throw to second base.
Yeah.
You throw that ball to third base, the next play doesn't matter.
Right, because Riley tags.
Correct. He threw the ball to second base. This is a kid who's wise beyond his years. And I know people are going to listen to this and be like, no, oh my gosh, the play. Yes, you're right. Turner. But the Trey Turner play doesn't happen if the 24-year-old center fielder doesn't throw the ball to the right base.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that the Phillies lost games on for years.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you right now, Odubel Herrera throws that ball to third. base. There's a chance that Brandon Marsh throws that ball to third base.
Yeah.
Not as good of a chance. I'd put that at like 15%.
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen it where our center fielders have not made that throw. They've not made the right throw.
Yeah.
He made the right throw, and I'm not overstating it when I tell you
No.
that throw is so important
Yeah.
to make sure that the double play stays in order. Then I'll let you talk about
Doesn't that make baseball the best, though?
Oh, yeah, because you throw that ball, it changes everything. 90 feet changes everything about that inning
Yeah.
and possibly the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
So go ahead and talk about Trey Turner's play.
I don't know what to say. Like, it's a top play I've ever seen a Phillies player make. Like, think of the shortstops we've had after Rollins. It's like, who else? And even Trey is a guy who's had the most errors of anybody else in the majors. This guy has had the most errors to step up and not only to stop the baseball. So let's just talk about that. One, he stops the ball from getting to the outfield, which if he lets it go, Riley gets the third. Acuna scores no matter what, obviously. But now you got first and third again with one out. And who knows, where it goes from there. It's 3-1 at that point. So he not only stops it from getting to the outfield, he makes a perfect side-handed toss to Bryce and Stott that has enough velocity on it. I didn't think they get Albies, to be quite honest. I didn't think there was a shot. I was just like, oh my gosh, he stopped it and they got Riley. That's great. Now there's at least 2 outs and only a man on first, which is a much better situation than first and third with 1 out. And then Stott turns, and I think I heard somebody talk about this. It might have been Fritz on the radio. Turns and throws the hardest ball that a second baseman has thrown to a first baseman the entire season. And throws an absolute bullet to get Albies, who is not slow. And the angle, they showed an angle from like right field, one of the highlights on Twitter, that shows Trey watching Stott turn, and him going nuts in that situation made me so happy that it's, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's an unbelievable play. Not only just to stop the ball, but to make, because again, he could have just gotten Riley at second and you would have been like, what an amazing play. Yeah. They turned a double play and didn't allow the run to score.
Yeah.
Absurd.
Yeah, it'll be one of those plays that they show in highlight reels for decades.
Yeah.
That I don't know what it was off the bat, honestly.
It was hit hard though.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we got exit velocity of 103 miles an hour.
Yeah. Not slow.
No. So yeah, the play itself, incredible. The flip, incredible. The turn, incredible.
Yeah.
That's a play a lot of second basemen just eat because they don't think they have a play.
Yeah.
I'm glad Stott turned and fired. When you look at the picture, the still frame of him taking the throw, taking the flip, you actually can't see Albies in the frame.
Oh.
Again, because of how hard that ball was hit.
Yeah.
And he got him by like a step and a half. It wasn't relatively close when Bryce took it.
Yeah. And listen, him being in the right-handed batter's box makes a difference there.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. In the left-handed batter's box, it's
much closer.
It's he's easily. So, I'm running through the living room.
Yeah, me too.
At that point, I am losing my mind. So we had a friend, Andrea's best friend, like up the street from us, and he had texted us right as the bottom or the top of the 8th was kind of wrapping up. He's like, "Oh, my cable's shit in the bed. Do you mind if I come up and watch the rest of the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, as long as you don't mind me standing."
Yeah, right.
Good. Like, so he was there for that. A lot of high. Phillies go down in order in the 9th, and then Kimbrel coming in was curious to kind of see what this looked like.
Yeah.
not as much of a emotional as what he had coming in Miami. But I think there's probably a little bit of, internal motivation facing your former team.
Right.
And Regz, it was a relatively easy ninth for him.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't facing the meat, right? But he faced, I think, 2 All-Stars. And with relative ease retired him in order, and the Phillies took game 1 to the shock and chagrin of a lot of people. Which kind of leads to a couple of things, and I want to start with something that is going to be talked about a lot here, over the course of the next day. The Orioles lost.
Yeah.
The Astros came out and won. The Braves lost. And the Dodgers are getting their asses kicked.
The Dodgers are getting mollywopped.
Yeah. They're getting their asses kicked. So we're going to hear what we've heard over the last year and a half, which is this bye week, this break is a disadvantage. That's what we're going to hear. So I did a little digging.
All right.
And I went back to see how these 4 teams fared coming out of the All-Star break. Just curious, because if we're going to say that the break matters, then then these teams would all be bad coming out of the break because they're not playing baseball.
Yeah.
Even if they're in the All-Star game, that's not real baseball. Right? Houston was 8-4 coming out of the All-Star break. They won tonight, so that makes sense. Baltimore was 8-5 coming out of the All-Star break. It's a winning record. The Dodgers were 7-5 coming out of the All-Star break. It's a winning record.
Yep.
Atlanta was 4-7 coming out of the All-Star break. So there might be a little bit of reality to Atlanta struggling coming out of a prolonged break. But I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. To me, I feel like, and look, fine. You don't win the division. Don't win the division next year.
Yeah.
We'll win the division, and then we'll come in, and beat you anyway.
Right.
Because it's not about that. Like it's just not. Like I know baseball's a game of rhythm. The Braves had many chances. They were not without their chances. They were not without their opportunities.
Yeah.
They didn't cash in.
Right.
But they weren't without their opportunities. I watched the Orioles game. They had their opportunities too. It's sometimes it's just you don't win. Now, look, the Dodgers got jumped.
Yeah.
Kershaw got jumped.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to hear that. Oh, well, they've been off. Like that should help a pitcher, especially one Kershaw's age. Kershaw's just never been a good playoff pitcher.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So I know I'm going to hear about that. It's going to pop up I'm not for it, man.
Whatever.
I'm not for it. I just wanted to put it out there before it got said.
Yeah.
I'm not here for these arguments. Like there were multiple opportunities to score.
Yep. Absolutely.
For the Braves and for the Orioles, and they didn't score. The Orioles held one of the best offenses in baseball to 3 runs. The Phillies deserve credit. They held the best offense in baseball to no runs.
Absolutely.
At home. So we can take that and shove it up our ass. Sorry, I'm not dealing with it, and I know I'm going to hear about it, so go away. Last thing that I want to touch on here. We wanted one game.
Yeah.
The enormity of this win, it just cannot be overstated. It can't be, Regz. It can't be. Beating Spencer Strider in Atlanta. Is I can't overstate it. You now have Zach Wheeler on the bump. Zach Wheeler, who has been about as dominant a starting pitcher as anybody in baseball all year. Coming off that, and you have your bullpen's going to be entirely rested. Not a single guy threw
Nope.
more than 12 pitches.
Yep.
Not a single guy.
Yep.
So you still have your whole bullpen at your disposal. Now, my hope is you really only need 30 innings out of your
Exactly.
bullpen. Maybe 2.
Right.
And you're facing Max Fried, who, look, the blister's real.
He hasn't pitched in a long time.
And the conversation around it is, the blister's healed until it's, because he can't bandage that. And the second it opens up, that thing's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's you got to be able to spin the baseball. The second that thing opens up, he can no longer spin the baseball. And Regz, I'm going to tell you right now, if they win this game on Monday,
Oh man.
you going Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
You might see it. If they win on Monday, I don't know that they lose on Wednesday.
Oh man.
Because you're gonna have a very deflated Braves team.
Yep.
Going to a very loud Citizens Bank Park.
Pitching who?
They haven't announced.
I know, but still, it's not a stud.
I mean, they could go Strider.
Great.
They could go Strider on short rest and then worry about Game 4 if Game 4 should happen.
Please.
I think if they lose tomorrow, they're going to have to go.
Again,
Because
please.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's 3 days of rest.
Yep.
And I think at that point, you really have to consider.
I think there's nothing that Phillies fans want more than Strider to be on the mound at Citizens Bank Park again.
I have a feeling he'll say no.
Yeah, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna want to go out there. I think
There's too many fans in the lower bowl. I can't pitch.
Yeah, which was an embarrassment.
Yeah.
There were people walking up to the window and buying tickets before. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. There's a ton of pressure on this Atlanta team.
Yeah.
Now they threw Kyle Wright at the Phillies last year in Game 2 and shut the Phillies out. Kyle Wright is shut down all through 2024.
Yeah.
So it is Max Fried, and the Phillies did get to him in Game 1 of last year. They got like 6 off of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is certainly there for the Phillies. It is there for them, man. Like, you got your dude on the bump.
Yep.
You beat their dude. And
listen, and a dude that has beat you all regular season.
Yeah.
Every
whole
time they
career.
face Strider.
Mm-hmm.
We'd never have a chance.
Yeah.
And you just did it at Game 1 in Atlanta against the only good pitcher that they have left.
Yep. I mean, you are 9 innings from really giving yourselves one of the biggest advantages that you could possibly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of already have that advantage.
Right.
Like winning this game is enormous because you're really tough at home.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Nola versus who knows, and then Strider on short rest. And at this point, well, not Strider on short rest if he pitches on what would be Thursday. But you have Strider on the road, and we know how he feels about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a chance to really put a mark in this series. You have a chance to go out there and show the Braves that we aren't scared.
Yeah.
And we're gonna and I'm assuming Bomer's hitting third on Monday.
Yeah.
Because with Fried going, I think they're gonna want to split those lefties up a little bit. They're gonna use the lineup they used both nights against the Marlins.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is fine. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really good chance to stick the flag in the ground. And you win both games in Atlanta, and they're just gonna be Atlanta's not. They're not even going to want to pack their bags to go.
Yeah.
I don't say that. I don't say that from the. I don't say that in a jinxing manner. I don't say that. I say that truth. I predicted it before the series started.
Did.
You win this game, you sweep them. Like if you win this game and win Monday night, they don't want to go to Philly.
Yeah, no.
What do they want to go to Philly for? They're down 2-0 and they got to win 2 in the toughest ballpark in America with Aaron Nola on the mound. That's not fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
I just want them to go into this game too with the confidence that Atlanta threw their best at us and we beat them.
Yeah. Regz, I think they will.
Yeah. Oh man.
Did you see Castellanos' quote before the game?
No.
Did I send that I didn't send that to you?
You might have.
We're eager and excited for this series because it's the next chapter on our journey.
Yes, you did send this. Yep.
I think that right now, the way we feel about each other, we're playing anyway. Honestly, it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
They're very confident right now, Regz.
Yeah.
And you know, the bullpen gained some confidence.
Absolutely.
The bullpen gained some confidence.
Yeah.
Tonight. And here's the other thing about the quick trigger on Ranger. He's now available in game 2. He can come out and pitch. He only threw like 40 pitches.
Yeah.
50 pitches. So he can come out and throw if they need him to. They still haven't used Sanchez. They still haven't used Lorenzen. So, like, these are guys that they can use if they need length.
Yep.
But again, I don't anticipate that being the case with Zach.
Can't believe we have to wait a day.
I know. Well, imagine being the losing team and having to wait a day. That's the other piece to this I think is important to mention before we go. There's a mental component to having to sit around the day after a loss like this. A day after a loss where you got shut out at home. After your mascot was on Twitter berating around like an idiot. Also, Blooper, the Twitter, is like 19-year-old Azzy sitting at his computer and tweeting. It's not even a mascot, Regz.
Yeah.
It's some
It's
dude.
just a kid,
Like,
yeah.
What are we doing? The mascot shouldn't have Twitter.
No,
stupid. It's stupid. Just drag him, man. Just drag him. And listening to Matt after was like, well, yeah, I mean, you know, they pitched really well, and we just got to come out and yeah, no shit, Matt. Like, but you also know you're facing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a dude who's also Cy Young contender, you know, and Fried's banged up, and all the Phillies need to do is come out with a little bit of confidence, a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of have to, and y'all are on your asses going to Philly. Bus is going to be dragging you. You're going to be sitting under your couches like, I don't want to go there. Oh, down 2-0. Regz, I'm telling you, man. I think it might happen.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
I think it might happen. But in the meantime, we got a Birds game tomorrow.
That's right.
And we'll look forward to that. We'll you know, catch our breath a little bit. And then, you know, I'll be watching in California. It'll be 3 o'clock there when I'm watching. I don't know if I'm gonna go out somewhere to watch it or if I'm gonna sit in my hotel room and watch it. I haven't decided.
All right.
So either way, you and I will be in touch and we will record afterward. Be ready to rock and do our thing, buddy.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening. We'll catch up with y'all later in early this week for game 2. And then we'll be back on Wednesday for game 3. And have a full episode at some point this week. We'll make sure we dig into an episode before the NLCS starts. And the Eagles play again I think they go to New York next weekend. So we'll have a full show, but we'll also have recap shows. Hopefully it's exciting as this one. But for now, take care of yourself, take care of each other, be kind to yourself, be kind to one another. And we will talk to you on Monday evening. Go Phils. I mean, go Birds, but also really go Phils.
Go Phils and fuck you, Strider.
Oh my God, deep to right field, way up there and way Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.